Closing in on halfway in today's Aaron's 312 at the Talladega Superspeedway. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads as we check our Holiday Inn Express race summary. Some of the facts and figures on the day is getting a little intriguing up the front here because you got these two guys out front drafting, Earnhardt Jr. and Stewart. You got the outside lane trying to work to get to the front. Oh, and by the way, we're closing in on halfway, and everybody's got an eye on the weather radar, too. There's just a little bit going on.
I'll tell you what, look at Stephen Wallace. I have been so impressed with this young man today. He showed a lot of maturity, a lot of patience. He's been right up there, tucked up and underneath Tony Stewart for the last several laps. He is doing a great job. Kudos to old Steve Wallace today. So
what are the teams thinking down on pit road as they watch their cars on the track? This good racing up front, and, oh, by the way, the weather radar, too. Time for Nationwide to get you up to speed. We start with Shannon in the race leader's pit, or at least he's the leader for now, Shannon.
Well, Alan, it's been a great weekend for Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that number 5 car. They made first practice. All they did was make a wedge adjustment in that first practice, did not compete in final practice, and the car's been good all day. They had a little bit of a temperature problem earlier in the race, but everything is great. Chad Walters said, we have an unfair advantage coming into this race. We have a great car, a great track, and of course we have Dale Jr. behind the wheel. Jamie.
Shannon, Tony Stewart started on the pole. You're looking at the front of that Camry right there. He just came on the radio a couple moments ago and asked his crew chief, Dave Walters, who's behind me? Dave Rogers, I should say. He said, who's behind me? Dave said, that's Stephen Wallace. And Tony, of course, came back and said, that's why I have that uneasy feeling in my stomach. He's not sure what to expect from Stephen, but so far, so good right now. They're running in the draft. You see the 20 right behind the 5. Shannon?
Well, Jamie, Stephen Wallace, what a great run for the number 66 car. I spoke with Stephen earlier today. He told me he learned a lot about this race, about drafting from Daytona. He said in that race, he opted to stay in the back, hang back, and wait to make his move. And he said, you know what? I got in a wreck. So today his plan was to make it up front, take that coveted real estate at the front of the pack, and that's exactly what he's done. Dave.
The 7 car of Mike Wallace earlier dropped back, Mike saying to his crew, you know, it's too early for me to show how brave I am. He's back up to the front now, and he's working very hard to keep that position toward the end of this race, because remember, he knows what to do in a brake draft situation like this, peeking his nose out right now, trying to keep that car cool. That's been the same for the 64 of David Stremme right behind him, that white hooded car. That car has been running hot throughout the day. They took some tape off on one of their stops. Otherwise, pretty solid performance right now for Stremme, waiting to the end of this race to show what he can do. Mike?
And Dave, we've just crossed the halfway mark, meaning this race is official, and that is very good news for everyone in the field, including the 25 car of Bobby Hamilton Jr. Now, Hamilton may have taken Mexico City in that race off a week ago, but it wasn't a light week by any stretch of the imagination for this team. They went to the chassis dyno, the K-rig, and the wind tunnel. All of that testing is paying off here today as they're running very, very strong. Dave?
Jason Leffler is right behind him in that black and red number 38 car. His best role today may be in a supportive one. This morning, the crew told me that that car pushes better than it leads. Of course, he'll take the lead if he gets the opportunity, but most recently, he told Kyle Busch's team he could push that Toyota anywhere on the racetrack. I believe Kyle might appreciate that. Right behind him, the 99 of David Rudiman, having a solid run today, but he also dealing with the heat issue. They've removed all the tape they can that is tabbed on the front of that front end. So if they get any more heat build up in that engine, they're going to have a tough time. They said, David, if it gets up to 260, we're in trouble. Right now, it's about 235.
Patrick Carpentier right behind him. I talked to Patrick before he got in the car today. This is his first start here in the Nationwide Series, and I said, so what do you think? He said, you know, I've been watching races on DVDs. It looks like so much fun, and it is. He said running these Nationwide cars are more fun than the Cup cars here at Talladega. Hey, he's having a great time, and it's showing. Guys running top 10 so far about the last 15 laps. That's Patrick Carpentier.
So that's how things look at the front of the pack. We are past halfway. Is the rain that close? We'll keep an eye on it. Right now, though, Dale Jr. and Tony Stewart continuing to hold off all challengers. They're in the top 2 spots. We'll come back to Talladega in a minute.
Under caution at Talladega here, where drafting is the order of the day at speeds of 185 to 90 miles an hour. A moment ago, the 6 car of David Reagan spun off of turn 2. And something you rarely see at Talladega was a single car crash. David Reagan having some damage, but able to make it back to pit road to bring out caution. Number 4, there is the car behind him, Reed Sorensen, the 22.
And that's why you don't bump draft in the corner. You see he had some contact there with Reed Sorensen, the 22 car into the 6. Spin him right around.
Reagan headed down the pit road. Let's go down to Shannon.
Yeah, Dale Jr.'s crew chief Chad Walters said, guys, I don't think it's going to rain. So they're going to come down and get some gas. Some problems on pit road for Dale Jr., guys. Dave.
Bunch of two-tire stops. The main thing for Jason Leffler was up to 250 on the temperature. They've got to remove tape on that front. They get it. Oh, there's a tire getting away in front of Leffler. They've got to put it back before he leaves the box. Mike.
Brad Keselowski already away. A very clean pit stop for him. 4-tire change on the 88.
And Tony Stewart, fuel only. He was down and away in about 9.5 seconds. Guys, no changes. Tony Stewart is your leader.
Race off of pit road. Kenny Wallace gains 5 spots. Back 3 for Stephen Wallace. Well, we are past the halfway, and thus far the rains have held off. We'll come back with a green at Talladega in a moment.